introduction. I'm not going to tell you about the nun stuff today, right now. Well, I'll tell you about the nun stuff today, but you have to come at 4 o'clock to caveat, because that's when the nun starts. Oh. Or I can tell you privately, too, if you're not free at 4. I can tell you a nun story afterwards while we drink coffee. Okay, so I was raised a strict evangelical Christian, and when I came out to my mom, she ripped up my birth certificate and sent it to me. And I was kind of surprised by that dramatic gesture. I was like, you can't rip up a picture, was just symbolic value, like my baby picture, you have to have my actual birth certificate. And I was complaining about it to my therapist. I was like, oh, that was so passive aggressive. And she's like, no, Kelly, that was aggressive. So I took it to the county clerk's office, and he looked at me, and then looked at the pieces, and looked at me, and then looked at the pieces, and he thought for a minute, and he said, we get a lot of this from people who look like you, and then expedited it, which tells you my mom was not as original as she thought she was. So 10 years passed, and I don't know what changed, whether she had a religious time heals all wounds, or she watched Ellen every weekend afternoon for a long time, or whether she had an actual religious experience. But my mom said that she was ready to see me come perform. I don't know if ready was exactly the right word, more like resigned, but ready is close to resigned, at least alphabetically. So she could have come to see me perform at anything. She could have come to see me perform at a music festival, or a college, or a lovely Sunday morning event that people do instead of church. But she decided what she wanted to come see me perform at was I was opening for Tribe 8 guitarist and performance artist Lenny Breedlove at the Stonewall Inn at a gay bar. So I can't really describe, it's not appropriate for a Sunday morning, 11 o'clock, nice folks, all family performance, what exactly happened. I will tell you they had to use a mop on the stage afterwards. And I will tell you that halfway through I said to my mom, it's okay, Mom, I don't understand performance art either. And then 3/4 of the way through, I said to my mom, can I send you, how about if one of my friends gets you more wine? A sentence I haven't said before since. After the show, my friend, who was actually a survivor of the Stonewall riots, showed my mom around the Stonewall Inn, gave her a little tour. And my mom said, oh my goodness, it's a little bit like being shown around the palace by the Queen. To which my friend said, no, Mrs. Piper, it's exactly like being shown around the palace by the Queen. So, my mom did okay. She did okay, my big band of queer Mary followers. But she had this one burning question, this burning question. And so I could tell she wanted to ask me something. She was like, Kelly, I was like, spit it out, Mom. You can ask me. She said, in your subculture, I didn't even know my mom knew the word subculture. In your subculture, are you considered attractive? And just at that moment, my partner came up behind me and kissed the top of my head, and she said, yes, Mrs. Piper, there are some people in our subculture who want nothing more than someone who looks like your daughter. So the next year, my partner, who had been previously diagnosed with ovarian cancer, had a recurrence. And she got very sick and then passed away in my arms, surrounded by our band of queers. The next year, my mom's husband developed both dementia and advanced colon cancer. Now, my mom's husband was a retired Army colonel, and even then, though he'd been retired for almost 20 years, everyone still called him the Colonel, including my mom, except for when she called him her affectionate nickname for him, TC, which stands for the Colonel. And so most people, when they develop dementia, they forget the names of their kids or where they live or their most fond childhood memories. That is not what happened to the Colonel. The Colonel forgot he was a jerk. I think because he forgot where the scotch was. So I went to my mom's home and helped her set up hospice, and the Colonel was lovely to me. He was like, oh, Kelly, I love your haircut, soldier. I love the ultimate compliment. I love your haircut, soldier. That's fantastic. Oh. And we thought that he might not make it until Christmas, and he was really so, cognitively impaired at that point that he couldn't even follow a sitcom. So my mom put up the Christmas tree, and he asked her just to turn off the lights, and he just watched the tree. And every so often he would say, "That's a heck of a tree, Nance. That's a heck of a tree." And so I would sit with my mom, watch her as she would put on makeup, and I wanted to tell her it was going to be okay, but I knew it wasn't, and so I just sat with her. So the Colonel died a few days before Christmas, and when people came to drop off food and send their condolences, my mom's response was, "This is my daughter Kelly. She's also a widow. She lost her spouse as well." So a few days after Christmas, my mom and I were sitting one morning early, and she was sipping her coffee, and she looked so sad, and I was like, kind of the stand-up comic in me came out, and I said, "Just one moment." And I disappeared into the bedroom and covered myself in a green blanket, and then I started doing this banana pants dance to the Ramones' "I Want to Be Sedated." And I said, "Now I will do the traditional dance done by the last born member of a family 5 days after a death in the family." And so I bounced around the living room, and my mom laughed until coffee came out of her nose. And then I crashed into the wall and then crawled back into her bedroom, put on another blanket, and came back out and said, "Now I will do the traditional dance after somebody dies doing the dance after the death of a family." And so my mom and I, after I had finished my dances, we sat in the living room. And that is how a Christian mom and a queer daughter drank coffee together. I sipped my Diet Mountain Dew. We talked about Netflix specials and the drawbacks and benefits of periods of sexual abstinence, and we were both strangely comforted. Thank you, I'm Kelli Dunham.